Check, check, 1, 2. Can you hear me, sir? I've made you co-host. If you can hop on the mic, see if it's working. Maybe give me a thumbs up. Yo, yo, how you going, brother?
What's happening?
Well, it's always the time to build and ship, my friend.
Shipping, we're building. We're building ships.
We're building ships. If they're sinking, we build new ones and hop over to the new one that's still floating.
Ration our food. Ration our food.
Yeah, that's right, bro. We gotta fight for the scraps now.
Man, this market is crazy, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's not completely unexpected though, in my opinion, right? With some of the frickin', the crude tools that these governments and especially Trump, of course, has. Like, this is the type of shit they're going to do to move things,
Hmm.
That said, though, imagine, because you and I are kind of OGs in crypto, like after you a couple cycles in, like if you think back to 1 or 2 cycles ago, bro, wouldn't this have like dumped Bitcoin and ETH and all that shit like 30% in a day?
Yeah, there was exactly. Yeah,
like 30%. This type of stuff. Yep. In previous cycles, like we're all goldfish, on Twitter, on crypto Twitter, right? We're so easily forgetting things that happened in the past. But this type of stuff would have crashed the market so badly back in the day,
Uh-huh.
So yeah. We have to take note. There's so much liquidity now floating around that this stuff isn't as painful, and which hopefully means recoveries are not as drawn out as people look for value.
Right. Oh, you mean like a whole 4-year cycle?
I think that whole narrative is just something that we've evolved out of, like this, again, I think it's all about liquidity, bro. Like even with the projects, you talked about it, like having liquidity as a project, owning your own liquidity is king, cash is king. It's like liquidity is what happens behind the scenes of all these headlines, bro. And there's still so much fucking money in the system that, these flash dumps that Kramer calls and stuff, they don't happen as badly as people say. But who knows, man? I'm not a crystal ball man.
Yeah. I want to get this revenue, bro. It's all about this revenue. I don't know if this is the end of the cycle and there's a new cycle beginning. I don't really care. I want to get this revenue, bro.
Well, I think what we'll see is, some other OGs we know, man, like Kruger and like some of the others that we're kind of in similar DAO groups with, like you and I, they've called for similar stuff, right? It's not this whole overarching be all end all 4-year cycle or one bull, one bear. It's like mini, almost narrative driven mini cycles amongst a greater, cycle that we haven't picked up on.
You're still in the, what is it, Kairos DAO?
Yeah.
And does Kruger participate in there a lot? Does he give a lot of his thoughts in there?
He drops them from time to time. It's mainly echoing what he posts on Twitter, which, I mean, he's pretty insightful. Like no one gets everything right, but I would say, back testing all the stuff and how long we've known him, like he's pretty drilled into the macro stuff going on.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
He is. So, I mean, I always take strong note on what he's saying, which he said for a while. But, people can be short-term short and long-term long. It's just how your time frames run. But when you're a builder, you got to, unfortunately, we're kind of like victims to the overall market too,
Yeah.
Building a public app.
How are you doing? How are your signups coming on the app, on the VPN?
They've slowed up a bit. We've had to squash some bugs. Thanks for some of your help, man. I mean, I think we fixed that. We're about to ship updates this week, actually, another fix for some stuff and improvements. And we've got some news we're going to share too. Like we're officially announcing the foundation we've set up for the protocol. And with that, we can announce like how we're going to do buybacks with the premium subscription funds that come in to support the ecosystem and the devs. So it's all pretty cool. Like, I mean, hey, everyone's going to say, you can't please everyone, right? We're going to have loads of people, or not loads, but maybe the odd person say, oh, look at the timing of this. Like, look at what's happening to the markets. It's like, yeah, but we don't build in time with the market. Like sometimes you might release news, but you just got to keep building as much as you can. Probably same with you guys.
Yeah, we don't try to time anything.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have just you kind of stealth shipped some stuff this week, bro. Tell us about some of the cool shit that I've already seen and used.
Yeah, so notes are a little bit buggy right now. We just released notes a couple days ago. Shout out to Vic. The app's going to look completely different in the next probably 2-3 weeks. So let me tell you a little bit. When you go to the app right now, we have the logo, then we have the account link. We're going to make that round. Actually, that's going to be a pretty significant upgrade from. It's kind of a rounded square. When you go to account, we're going to make that round. And it's crazy how like these little design aesthetics, little design changes just changes the whole look of the app. So that's going to be round. We're trading. We just did this actually in the internal chat, and a few months ago when we started designing the swaps, that was always just a weird. Like I wanted to get away from that word swap. Like swap, so it's just a stupid word in crypto for trading. So what we wanted to do was, and when we were designing it, it was like, okay, well, let's make it buy and sell. I was telling the designers, let's do buy and sell. So with like you're on the Ethereum asset page, you could say buy or you can sell, which would kind of take you, if you put sell, then obviously, you're selling Ethereum into USDC or whatever it is. And if you're buying Ethereum with USDC or whatever, right? So yeah, we went back for this. And then, Ritesh comes in the chat and he was like, well, we should probably call this trade. And I'm like, why didn't I fucking think of that? Like, what the fuck? And it's just like those little things. So swaps are now trades. That's going to go out in the next, probably today, which, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? If like, just swap. It's just like such a crypto term, but, it's a trade. You're trading, right? So, and then we're going to introduce a bottom nav pretty soon, probably this week. The bottom nav is going to have a home. It's going to have activity. It's going to have a send button. It's going to have an invest page, because what we want to do is we want to be curating assets. So when you're in the app and you like first come to it and you're like, okay, well, what do I trade? What do I buy? We don't want them just buying anything. We want to curate assets for them. So we want to say, hey, pick up some Aerodrome or some Moonwell. And then when they click on that, from the invest page, and they can learn more about Moonwell. They can learn more about Morpho or Aerodrome, right? That's what we want to do. And we want to do that with other assets too. And you were saying that maybe we should charge for, like, what do you think? Maybe we charge that? You can talk about that right now, but going back to the bottom nav, invest, and then the right hand all the way at the bottom on the bottom nav, the right icon is going to be explore. And on the explore page, we're going to have, the community feed for the notes. So you'll be able to, browse notes, the community feed. You'll have the send pot, which is going to be our weekly raffle game or weekly jackpot. 30 cent a ticket, by the way. It's going to be 30 cent a ticket for the jackpot game. And then what else do we want? We got that, and then we're on that explore page, we want to bring rewards and affiliates. We kind of want to bring that out of the account page. We don't want to put that we want to put that in the explore page, because we want people to go to explore and say, okay, let me explore some ways to get rewards or explore ways to be an affiliate. We kind of want to, this is helping us guide the user through the product journey, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was always feeling it was a couple taps too many, having affiliates and rewards in the account page. And it's not like, you kind of don't really think about going to the accounts page for that, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. So we're going to put that on the explore page. And this is all, we just experiment with this stuff left and right. But you mentioned something about maybe charging people and not just doing it for free, huh?
Well, not so much charging, like, or even just as a pilot, like we want to reboot our whole Web3 app store that we had, which was very successful early on, and when we released the Mass browser. And the reason that we wanted to do it is we wanted a way, like a streamlined way to cross collaborate with other projects, right? And if you build like an ecosystem within your ecosystem that you can collaborate easily with, it makes it easy, and it doesn't have to cost. Like at the beginning, we've done a lot of them for free. We've never charged any projects. We've let the community kind of recommend ones that they like. And then you sort of, get in touch with their team, and you just sort of say, hey, look, like it doesn't have to be formal too. Like that's what I love about crypto, man. Look at what you and I are doing right here. We didn't have to sign an agreement and say, oh, we're going to do spaces now. Like, don't say this, don't say that. Like, we're just like, hey, bro, you want to chat? Go. There's no fucking red tape in Web3 if you don't want there to be. And you just get a curated feed, like you're saying. Like there might be projects that are on Base that are super in tune with Send, bro. You just say, oh, hey, we'd like to feature you in our app. Like, let's do some spaces. Let's do a cross promotion set of posts, and you pitch Send to your community. I'll pitch your app to our community, and if we both gain users, we both win, and it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, I am curious. What assets do you think are good assets on Base?
I mean, I guess it depends.
When you go to Deck Screener, if I go to Deck Screener and I go to Base and I look at top volume, CBBTC is the top six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in terms of volume. 131, 111 million volume.
But dude, volume, think about it this way. Volume's misleading, right? Because volume is where the whales and the big money move their funds.
But I'm just going down. I'm going down now. It starts to thin out a lot. I mean, Kita, I've never heard of Kita, 5.8 million in volume. I have to look that up. Dog and Me is number 12, 1.3 million in volume. Brett, number 13, 1.3 million in volume. Venice Token, VVV, which is that Eric Voorhees project, 1.2 million. Edge, which just came out, which I don't really know what it is, 1.2 million. Fartcoin, Based Fartcoin. Based Fartcoin, 30 million market cap. That's fucking wild. Debt Relief.
It's crazy.
Currently at 9.8 million market cap with 900K in volume. Clanker.
Yeah, you'll see like DRB, Clanker, Banker Robot, or Banker
these are all
Bot.
meme tokens. Yeah. The only one is probably DRB's not a meme token, is it?
I think it is kind of. It's like it's these bots that run on X where you can like connect your X to gives you a wallet.
So BankerBot started this token, right?
Yeah, they've got BNKR, I think, and you got to hold some of it to use the terminal. Yeah.
Yeah. So today's actually the month anniversary. So this guy says, Grok, suggest a name and ticker for deployment to BankerBot. BankerBot await Grok's response for info before proceeding. For BankerBot deployment, suggest Debt Relief Bot as the name, as DRB as the ticker. These, along with crypto naming conventions, are short, memorable, and reflect the bot's financial focus.
The DRB has already, been around. I don't know if that's a new one on Base only. I thought that DRB was on Sol. Maybe it's just a clone of that one.
Yeah, the Debt Relief Bot has been around a month now.
Well, what you could do is curate a feed based on trends, man. Like just have like if you and I always play with names, bro. Like you could get a bit interesting and say make a send change instead of swap or trade. Send change, like exchange, send change, and then you're changing send into. I mean, who knows? But anyway, you can curate whatever you like, and then have like a trending filter that says what's the highest volume today, tokens, or the highest market cap, or.
Yeah, I want to curate assets though that like nobody know, like, you know what I mean? Like they're not. I don't know. Like, would we put Brett in the app, like, and highlight that under the Invest tab? I wouldn't. Like Dog and Me.
Could you do account-based voting? You could say, hey, look, star this one, and it'll rank up. Community voted. Obviously, that can be botted.
Oh, we could do that. We could do that. That's a good idea. So we could say. We could put a poll.
But dude, how about this? How about this? You send 1 cent to vote for the token you like, and then it ranks up. And then it can't be botted as easy.
Oh, that's pretty good. Send 1 cent.
to rank up the tokens on the chart on the curated list. You know, like we some of these things I've got this massive idea, you know, spreadsheet or whatever I use. And like stuff like that, we've been waiting to do with Mask as well, like have community curated parts of the ecosystem, right? Where like we even thought if we got, you know, when we get popular enough, you know, projects might want to feature, and we could say, well, hey, just stake Mask for 30 days. This is how much it is now, and we have it on a floating rate on the market value, whatever. And then, you know, once the feature's done, they can either unstake and do it. Maybe they get, you know, rewards per click or whatever. But like, there's an incentive to have part of your utility token to feature, and you can have it as like a marketing area. There's more pieces to build, but bottom line is if you get community involved, they like it. You could do voting rounds to let your community pitch projects they want to see in the list. Have them vote. You're already experimenting with stuff like that, like the pot thing where you got to like buy a ticket. You know, you could do voting. Send 1 cent to vote, that type of thing, and then burn it.
Let's see. Or I could do it like, okay, so what asset would you do? Mask is on base.
Bro, I'd do Mask. Of course I'd do Mask. I'd send 1,000 cents straight away. Make Mask go in there.
So you guys are, how much volume? So you guys have about 9K volume.
Oh, it's not the best at the moment, but we also have some liquidity on Polygon, so it kind of splits a bit of the volume across there. But that's a question. One day, do you feel you'll go multi-chain, or are you going to focus on base first? I'd say base first.
We'll go multi-chain.
Nice. How do you think some of the movements now reflect on where base ecosystem's going? I mean, I have to say, even though we all want more support from base themselves as an ecosystem for builders like us, but
everybody says that. Everybody says that. Did you see that one recent one where fucking those guys are scumbags? They built that game. They said that base couldn't. It was a fucking. It went down.
Oh, they claim they crashed. They claim they crashed the blockchain. I'm like, dude, you haven't got devs making this announcement, do you? That's fucking retarded.
And then fucking Jesse came with receipts.
Yeah, that was funny, man. They're like, oh, look, we crashed the blockchain. And he's like, actually, you came to us with a flawed launch, and we tried to help you.
Yeah.
That was so, like, revealing.
We hooked up our front end. Yeah. That's so funny, bro.
It's like, oh, and your transaction bundling was not prepared. And they're like, oh, actually, yeah, you know, but hey, look, again, we're most of crypto Twitter operates like goldfish tank, bro. Like 7 seconds goes by, they forget. And on to the next thing. Yeah.
Which assets should we highlight?
Hey, by the way, on your affiliates thing, I actually do look at your guys' app and design a lot, you know, because we're actually developing the affiliates page for Mask, and we're like looking like, okay, how many clicks deep do we want it? Like, you know, how simplistic should it be? Like, should it be right when you start Mask up for the first time? You know, do you click something to then generate your referral link? Like all those types of decisions we're on now. We just had a meeting on it last night, so yeah, it's cool stuff. It's fun. You just want to get it right, but you have to iterate.
I would love to see that. I would love to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, man.
Because I've been thinking about the affiliate page a lot and how it needs to be redesigned.
Yeah. I think it's okay how it is. It's just nested a few clicks deep. So I think if you bring it out to the forefront in its own icon, maybe, or someone has to do an action and then it adds to the icon. One thing you might want to think about is since you've got limited space on a mobile device, not so much on a browser, you might want to look firstly, if you can, find out how many users use it on a phone versus browser, like do some analytics on your app usage, see how many users are on each device. And then, you could curate the nav area at the bottom. So like people could say, I want to see the icon for affiliates on the bottom and check my rewards, or delete it and have like send swap down there, send trade. You know, you could have 4 icons like a phone. You put as many icons, you know, you want in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And then people can have that show.
Let's see what else. What's going on? Who we got in the audience? Black Exchange.
How's Earn going?
Oh, this is a nice one. Earn is going the future cash. Earn is going good. That's going to be out probably this week.
Nice.
Yeah. Scan, stake, swap, deposit. Yeah, Earn is going good. That's Big Boss is gonna finish that. Big Boss is coming full time finally.
Has he not been full time? Dude, that guy's a beast.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Wow.
Yeah, he's solid, super solid.
That's wild. That's good, man. He's a champ. Wasn't he working with Function? Was that like sort of AI platform he was helping?
Function, yeah, he's still helping with that, I think. He's still helping with that a little bit.
No.
I don't know. Eric said he was doing some work with that. Let me see. He shared a link. What did he say? Eric. Nodes, function, DevNet function. Access anywhere, access AI anywhere at any time. He's always been really good at design too. Damn.
Yeah, this stuff's pretty cool. I haven't dived into their platform, but I use Venice quite a lot, though. I like them. Eric chatted with me in DM like a year ago, and I was asking for their API, if they have one ready for testing and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, it's not quite ready for public, but we'll let you know." And obviously, he's a busy guy, but do you see that's core to their whole model now? It's the API usage. It's pretty cool. I'm glad they launched on Base. At that time, there was no hint of a token at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
What else is going on? So the market's down. What else? What else?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think for builders and projects like with real apps, like our focus is kind of the same, dependent no matter what the market is, right? Like make your app good to use, acquire users, get your brand out there in different ways. I don't know. I've had some recent critique about like, oh, hey, people are risk off now. Do you want to spend on marketing and things like that? What do you think about that? And not maybe the spend part, but like, do you market harder when something like this happens? Do you like be louder? Like, what's your view on that?
No, we just actually we brought this other girl on board who's fucking thick, bro. She's fucking. But I think we're, what is it? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So we're going to get lucky. We're continuing to build and we're going to get lucky. Somebody's with some influence is going to say, fuck, this app is sick.
Right.
Try my referral code. And, and that's going to fucking catapult us. You know what I mean? It could be fucking somebody just massive, like a fucking celebrity that says, hey, fucking a Kardashian says I have a Centag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's but getting there to that one point, and then, it's kind of almost like you got lucky, but did you get lucky, or were you just, you basically just prepared, right?
Well, there's this concept called luck surface, right? If you do more and you take more opportunities, your luck surface is greater, so you have a higher chance of quote unquote getting lucky, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Now we're, similar grind, but yeah, that's the thing is you just keep doing what you're doing, keep moving, keep swimming.
So, how are you guys doing on money?
Sort of the same old. We made some some tough conservative decisions like over the last 6 months to kind of make sure we're good, and that's why we've also not like pushed paid marketing early. Like we're just trying a little bit now, but people are always how they're. People, often the community will often say, oh, look, we want marketing. We need this. We need an exchange listing. We need that. And it's like marketing is not even that. The marketing word is not what a lot of people really think about it when you're actually, leading the project. Like it's different. And so, we're always trying to like find ways to do that. But we've tried to be conservative. How about you guys, man? I know you guys were looking at different options for other things too a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
we're still Coinbase is going to get back to us tomorrow. I think one confirmation too is kind of we had a meeting with some guy who was helping out over there. We'll see.
Was that Coinbase Ventures? Coinbase Ventures?
Yeah, Coinbase Ventures. Yeah, hit me up last night. We'll see. I don't know. They're still looking at some stuff, but these investors, bro, they just like it's just like we talk to them. Well, we look for more traction. We look for more payment volume or stuff, right? So it's like, we're looking for more traction, more payment, TPV, total payment volume. And then I see them fund these other people who are like fresh out of Coinbase and basically quit their job to start like a product. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they don't have any fucking traction. How much money did you give them? You know what I mean? And it's like, we've been building.
Well, they're fresh out of Coinbase, bro. What do you think? They have connections.
Exactly. I know it's so stupid, bro. But like,
nepotism.
Been building on Base for 18 months, close to 2 years now. It's like, but it's like that. But it doesn't bother me, bro, because we're just going to continue to send it.
Yeah, for sure, man. We got to keep trying. I over the years we've been pitched a few times, and in some ways I've been like, it would have been nice, but like, would we have changed our trajectory that much without worrying so much about resources? Like, would that have changed it? Would they have forced us to do different things? Whenever you take money, bro, you're kind of selling influence of your own management of the company or the project.
The other thing too, bro. That's the other thing I don't like either, dude. And it's like, I don't want to sell too much of the company,
Well, it's just influence too. Like, if they give you this cash injection, and then they're like, "Hey, we don't like this one pivot you've done with this product angle. We think you should do this," and it's almost like they have so much influence based on your direction because they gave you money. Obviously, it could be aligned, so they could give you good advice. I don't know. It is what it is, but it's a tough time. Obviously, people are becoming more risk averse. Like, they're not taking as many risks. I think VCs, is pulling back a bit, and they're probably looking into different ways to get exposure to AI and shit. Still.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. But do you think that'll ever be part of the Send ecosystem, like any sort of AI components or stuff like that?
Sure, for sure. We're going to start to do that. So this SendPot, we want to integrate everything into the app. Not that it's like a mini app, but like that it feels part of Send. So we'll do something with AI. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty good. I feel like it's almost necessary. Like, you got to make it kind of part of your stack somehow, but in like a good way that actually adds value, not just to say you're part of AI.
Right.
Yeah. How's the Moonrow thing? You still in touch with the guy? Like, what's his name? We were going to have him as a guest here.
Oh, yeah. He said, but he's a busy dude. I wanted to be respectful of his time, Yeah,
100%. I was just curious, like, we should get some guests in here.
Yeah, let's get some guests, bro. Let's get some guests.
This could be a bit of a platform to start curating a few Base projects. Maybe we look at some Base projects up and coming. You say you want to look at some of that invest screen, have up and comers. Why don't we have them come in here and pitch? Talk about the project. No, just any project on Base, and this could make a list for the token screen that you're building, like your invest screen or your swap screen.
Yeah.
We could have them talk to communities here and have them pitch us.
Yeah, we could do that. What do you think? I put out a post out looking for projects on Base to attend the next space.
Yeah, I mean, we called it Base Station with that vision in mind, right? We'll sort of
tell us
collab.
Why we should highlight you on our invest page.
Yeah, and if they're good, we'll add them to the Web3 dApp store in Mask. In the Mask browser, you can. Send's already in there, bro. We've added you, so like they could get exposure from two big communities.
Yeah, we could do that.
What's your active users now? Like, is it? I think you almost had a 9,000 day, right?
No. Our 1,500. Yesterday was a good day. 1,500 returning, 42 new. We hit 4,000 again for the week, and then we've been growing for 9 consecutive months. Last month was the first time we hit 10,000. 10,000
Wow.
10,000 total 10,666, returning close to 8,000, and then new 2,800.
That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
15.
Yeah, what are we hitting now? We're one install off of 200, which isn't bad considering we've done, haven't really started any paid marketing yet, just organic. 200 of our extension users now installed. 199. So who's going to be that one listener that goes and installs Mask, DVPN right now in Chrome? Someone's going to push it up. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we've got 100 weekly users. That's pretty good for just only, 3 weeks? We haven't hit 30 days yet. Not bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you guys aren't even 30 days in.
Yeah.
You guys have a Dune Analytics?
Yep, we do. It doesn't track users because we don't analyze. I mean, this is from the extension like KPI or whatever, the Google extension like analytics they have, which is built into the thing. But we don't track, much user stats. But we can see downloads. We can see token movements to see how many people are active, which kind of fluctuates up and down, anywhere from like 50 to maybe 100 users a day. But active users might not have a payment in a day, like if they're only turning it on for a few hours, right? But the Dune dashboard we've got, it does track like the token volumes. Do you find on CoinMarketCap the volumes are always off for send? Like they're never right?
Well, we just have one pair, so it doesn't really...
Yeah, ours are never right on there, man. I don't know why. Like they're grossly wrong. Like it'll say 1,000 volume and there's like 30,000 on chain.
Oh.
That's weird.
What do you what's your locks? What's this lock supply here? Project allocated lock supply 4.24.
That's the remaining mask in the treasury that was allocated from the beginning, and the founders a while ago. Well, some of the founders who aren't active anymore, they donated 1 million tokens back to the protocol. So that one wallet there that's got 1 million, that'll be released into the incentives we do, like affiliate promos, marketing. Yeah, it's all there for the ecosystem. What's that?
How many founders are there? Were there or are there?
Originally, there was 7. We kind of formed as a committee way back. I mean, I could write a book about this stuff, bro. Can you believe October 6 years Mask has been alive? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Originally there was 7. I mean, kind of one was just sort of sitting in the background, advising. And then they slowly sort of just said, oh, hey, I don't have time to participate anymore after 6 months or so, and dropped off. They voted me as the project lead early on. And then, the rest is history. There's pretty much just like me, and one of them is still sort of advising from time to time, but none of us ever took a salary. What's interesting, and I wanted to talk about this briefly too, is you see how many projects are suddenly closing and they've barely been alive for 1 year and they raised loads of money?
No.
I've seen 5 in the last week, and I'm just how the hell are you folding? You raised $8 million. If you guys know who I'm talking about, you'll probably know then. Oh. They valued it. What was the name of that one? I just read it the other day, but the scenario was they raised $8 million, and it valued at an $80 million project, and they barely made they barely were alive for a year, and they've already folded, saying, "Oh, we're closing, we're decommissioning the app, this and that," and I'm like, what? How much were you paying yourselves, salary wise? That's a good way to bankrupt your project, is to all start taking $500,000 salaries.
Yeah, that's crazy. But damn, a lot of people do that.
Of course they do. They have an inflated ego that they got funded, and probably the VCs don't get to look at their operational budget after a certain amount of time, and they just all pay themselves perks, or they give themselves tokens and dump, quietly, which usually always comes out on chain. So, we're some of the good ones. I'm not tooting our own horns, bro, but everyone can see on chain everything about what we talk about. And if anyone questions it, they can see the receipts, bro. Like, if you go 2 years in this game, what? Like, are you just going to slow rug over 2 more years? Like, what's the game there, you know?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. But yeah, I think there's only going to be more projects who are poorly managed that are just going to go out of business or shut down their apps. And to be fair, like, we want to start welcoming them if we see ones that are in the similar space to us, or even in Sendma. You might see some projects that are like trying to do similar stuff. They just don't survive. Like, we got to welcome them to our communities and say, hey, give our app a try. Like, you'll like it, you know, give us a chance, join us, you know. We're here for the long term.
Yep.
I just read a VPN, just kind of, I don't know if this is true. I haven't done all the research this morning because it's still only 10 a.m. here. But there was one that was kind of a competitor, I guess, to us. But I never really thought that, you know, they'd really built something unique. And they supposedly just rug pulled today and down 90% in a day. They were valued at 40 million market cap. Just pulled the LP.
They what? How much?
They were valued at 40 million market cap and went down 90% in 24 hours.
What's it called?
Well, I don't know if I should say it on air. I guess there's no one here. I mean, Cosmic, COSMIC. It was like a DVPN. I'm pretty sure they just forked Sentinel and decided to launch their own sort of
FOMO, Cosmic Network.
Cosmic Network, yeah.
Oh wow, there it is. Damn.
I don't know the details, and I'm not saying that they're all scamming or whatever, saying all that stuff. But if any of you guys are listening and you were part of that, or you thought they were good, sorry for you. But try out Mask, man. Like, we're going to stay around. Like, we're here. We've got our apps live. We've been building a long time.
They went to a new contract. That was before, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know all the details. I just saw a lot of people crying with dismay how they lost all their money.
That's crazy.
It is, man. But hey, you make something that someone can use every day. You know, like you said, it's a matter of time. You know, you might get lucky. You might get the right person who's got influence to say, I've tried this, it's great. And then I think collaboration's the key, bro. Like, look at what we're doing here. It doesn't cost us anything besides having an hour to joke about each other, you know, and talk about our project, you know?
They even put out a statement right here. This is interesting. Targeted FUD attack followed by the recent. See, that's why, bro, nobody's going to come in my community and try to FUD me. Fuck that. I don't let that shit happen.
Wait, is this from Cosmic? They're saying they got fudded?
Yeah, they're saying like a targeted FUD attack followed by a recent severe market downturn has made it no longer financially viable to continue. But
my God.
You know, like Luca Nets from Pudgy and like some other person who's building on Abstract like came in and said it's extremely hard to build as a founder. And, you know, I get that in crypto, you know, because, you know, people want to see roadmaps and then, you know, the community's always fucking mad about some shit, but you can't let that happen, bro. Like, you know, there's a few times in December and January where like people are like, fuck Ethan, you know, because I was doing, you know, I'm changing the rewards. I'm like lowering them or I'm increasing them, or, you know, I'm making the tasks different, you know, I'm lowering some, you know, because you're constantly just playing with the numbers and, you know, not one thing, you know, it changes every month, you know, or you're watching the blockchain and you're seeing people, you know, they're trying to sybil the rewards, right? They're trying to basically.
People are always going to game the system. That's what's frustrating when you try and do something you think is good, and it's like, you know,
rewarding that's for people. The game. That's the game. So you got to play that game, but then when you change stuff, people get mad, you know. But you're changing stuff because these other people were, so be mad at them. But you know, yeah, bro, building so like coordinated FUD. I don't believe that shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you can manage a lot of that if you've got a good community. The thing is, they had some pretty big partners, pretty big, not big, but like, you know, quite supportive network and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Huh?
They did?
Well, supposedly, I mean, clearly it wasn't enough. But I agree. Like, I don't even think they've been around a year. Like, maybe just about a year. So they did a Node hardware sale and all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't like a lack of funds, to start with. It just depends. I think if you're just...
This dude's cross-eyed?
I don't know, bro. Are you looking at that?
Yeah, I think he's cross-eyed.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's okay. People have just what, but
No, I just think it's funny that that's what you saw. That's what you saw first.
well, yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, come on, I'm gonna say,
Dude,
that,
it's like that. It's like that meme I put where I took the guy's eyebrow off and he had the tooth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the first thing you notice is something in his teeth, not that he's missing an eyebrow. And I put the Send logo on his tooth.
Who runs this Send Tweets channel? I think I don't know. I gotta see. Anyway, okay. So let me get Luke, bro, and let's get another week going. Let me see if I hit him up if he can come on.
Well, let's chat in back channels, man. Like, if you want to do a little, like, we could pilot it, right? Have people, pitch a project they think is cool on Base, get them to come up. Maybe have a couple who are interested. They can pitch their projects, and maybe we do like little collab session. But it's got to be like unique and novel, something cool for the ecosystem, but fits in with maybe Mask and Send.
Yeah. And for those on here, we're going to fix the notes pretty soon, so you'll be able to view your notes, because I know it's still not able to view. Yeah. I send the note every time. Every time I send now, I put a note.
Yeah, I've been trying. By the way, I did a little promo over the weekend because like Sundays for me is Monday, or sorry, yeah. But I get a head start in the night because my time change. And I did a little promo for you guys and girls, and you were supposed to send a joke through Send Notes and send me some Send, and I'll send back. And the people who won, I picked a few winners. I'll say the jokes here for everyone. There's a few pretty funny ones. What was it? There was one about you. Did you see?
Something shirtless founder or something like.
Yeah, they said, did you know the CEO of Send mostly makes videos without having a shirt on? Make sure my tag doesn't show when you repost this. I don't want to get fired. I had to avoid that one. That was pretty funny. And we had another guy. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. Let's fucking send it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. I went through. Yeah,
Yeah, bro, it's pretty fun. Like something small like that. How it's like a cool little fun thing, Yeah, man, we're gonna send it. But hey, we keep building, buddy. We'll probably wrap up here. But don't look at the charts. Things will come back, and you just got to focus on what's important, which is the user experience, right? Keep building.
Keep building, baby. Keep building.
That's it, man. All right. Well, if you're not a Mask user, go to mask.box. You can download the extension live, which is right now. You can use it and get privacy right in your browser. You can basically get a VPN. It's if you hit me up, I'll make sure you can use it for free, and it's in testnet. But if you want to replace your crummy old VPN, which is not really that private these days, you can do a Web 3-way and get a subscription. And if you're not a Send user, well, Ethan's going to pitch you on Send. Let's go. 10 seconds.
Invest time, earn rewards.
Yeah, there he is.
I don't know. Everybody's a Send user here, I think. I think they all get it. Just left foot, right foot, bro. Just keep building.
Yeah, I see a few Mask guys in here. Make sure you jump on Send. Use my referral code, Cowrie meant to Send tag. I'm not paying you back for your Send tags, though. That's not good business, guys.
No, that's not good business.
Yeah, but thanks for all your time, everybody. Cheers, Ethan. We'll chat in back channels too, brother.
All right, Jeff.
All right.